My name is Dunn, and I am involved in quite a few projects at the moment. The background is event planning and the rollout of the event planning. But with COVID, that has changed quite a bit as far as writing is concerned, as far as broadcasting, webinars, online, etc., as well as photo shoots, photography, story writing, over and above the rugby persona that I've enjoyed for 8 years. How did I get to where I am today, and who or what has motivated me? That is such a lovely question, because I do think that your childhood plays a big part in your person and your personality and your strength. For me, what really was a massive part of my life in early childhood was my dad. I've always been a bit of a round in a square, or a square in a round, and I really had a lot of support from my father, and a little bit later on from my sister and my family. And I was the girl that always did things differently in the family, and having that family acceptance and acknowledgement, even though half the time they didn't know what I was talking about, was really, really wonderful. And I think that came through, especially when I was a bit older and I was challenging the norms. It was really wonderful to have that background and that grounding and that certainty of self. So challenges in business. For me, on the business side, I've always found it easy. I've worked with incredible people who have had wonderful vision, and we've been able to work together to really produce beautiful, beautiful work that has inspired me. On the rugby side, the challenges were a bit more multi-layered. Initially, it was a female voice in a male-dominated environment, and that the boys found very challenging. And for me, it was very much a push-pull. There was a bit of controlling involved as far as that was concerned. I don't do well with that, so I pushed back. And during that, I think the biggest challenge for me personally was, at some point I did lose my voice. And when you are surrounded by quite a bit of negativity, especially by the boys you love, you do tend to retreat. And I think that's also important, is to every day reconnect with who you are, reconnect with what is it that you want to do. And sometimes it means removing yourself from the situation, which is what I did, finding the quiet place inside you again, so that you can be authentic again, so that you can be strong again, and you can find your voice again. And as long as you make sure that you connected with that beautiful voice inside you, you'll be fine. Trust that voice more, trust yourself more. What are my future goals? Wow, that's a beautiful, long, gorgeous list. Turning 50 this year was a massive epiphany for me. My 40s were very difficult, turbulent things happened, and the 50s so far have been amazing because they've given me clarity of vision. I have fresh energy, which is wonderful, and my goals have shifted slightly. I love the people side, I love the eventing side, I do love the sports side. On that part of it, I really want to focus a lot more on storytelling. I want to focus a lot more on storytelling with women in sport. I really find them completely inspirational. For me, doing the podcast around the Olympians and focusing on the ladies in sport was just a game changer, because the storytelling involved inspired me, energized me, and created a beautiful new baby. And for me, the focus is to travel a lot more in sport and to be able to tell the stories of the Olympians, of our beautiful Springbok players. And it's also about making us as South Africans remember just how incredible we are, just how amazing we are, and bringing those two connections together so that it is actually bridging the gap essentially between the sports person and the public, so that they back and they re-engaged with our incredible athletes that have to sacrifice so much during COVID to be able to compete at that global level. The other thing I really, really would like to achieve in the next year is if we could, as women in business or women in any kind of business, support each other more, back each other more, look to each other first when we are looking for support on any level, for a business execution on any level. Let us back each other. Let's walk the talk, ladies. Let's back each other. Let's really look at changing the narrative from a gender-based violence perspective, from a business perspective, from a woman perspective. Let's back each other and let's change the narrative. How do I believe I've made a difference? I think being not the perfect fit, and when I say perfect fit, I mean that from a rugby perspective, a lot of people when they meet me thought I was blonde with big boobs, so I didn't fit the mold. I do think also from a business perspective also I don't fit the mold. So I do think that for me, how I've managed to change perceptions is that when people meet me and they understand my background, which is a very underprivileged background. We only got electricity when I was 8 years old. But I didn't know that we were deprived in any way, because children, I was just a happy child. I had a wonderful childhood. I only found out that toilets weren't outside in a long drop when I was 8 and we got a proper buying house. And that's when we had electricity and we didn't read by candlelight anymore. But for me, when people hear me or watch a podcast or watch a little video, the perception is I've grown up with rugby. I haven't. I have grown up with business in my life. I haven't. So I believe that you can break the mold. I think it's important not to judge the person by the outer cover. And I do hope in my little way that I can inspire little girls to dream bigger, to want more, to try and get more.